Ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry to interrupt the normal flow of the program, but we have some really devastating news on the Erysichthon case. 2 days now, Erysichthon was missing and everyone was scared for the worst. Today, everyone's worst scenario became true. As we know, the goddess of agriculture Demeter was so enraged with him that she condemned him to insatiable hunger. The unfortunate Erysichthon, after he had devoured everything around him and having nothing else to satisfy himself with, he ate his own flesh. Linda, our police reporter, is in charge of reporting. She has collected some very interesting testimonies from people who were close to Erysichthon and can shed some light on the case. Linda, we're listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with a statement of Photomus, one of his closest servants. Next, Daphne, representing the child's nymphs, will take the floor. Poseidon will also talk about his grandson and goddess Demeter, will present her own versions of what really happened the day she caused the unfortunate suicide victim. Finally, we are going to listen his daughter's testimony and Menipus' opinions, one of his friends. We are starting off with Otomis.
I was his servant. Some time ago, he ordered me and 19 others to accompany him to the grove that the Pelasgians had dedicated to the goddess Demeter. He asked us to cut down the trees because he said it was the ideal place to build his new palace. We didn't want to listen to him, but we couldn't help it. We were spared, but he was punished for not respecting the goddess. He was punished for his greed.
On that note, Daphne wants to speak about what happened.
As an elected representative of Dryades, I have to denounce the unacceptable behavior of Erysichthon towards us. His purpose was to clear the sacred grove of goddess Demeter, but then we would lose our houses, so we had to protect them. We tried to protect him at the same time, but he didn't listen to us. He was not discouraged even when we told him that goddess Demeter would be angry and punish him. Without a doubt, his behavior towards the goddess caused his fate. As much as we regret his death, we believe that his tragic end could be a good example for all mortals to avoid. No one should behave like this towards the gods and harm the things protect. The Dryades and I would wish to not make any further statement on the subject.
Next up, Poseidon, the grandfather of Erysichthon.
Erysichthon was my grandson. His father had a lot of problems with him since he was a child. He kept asking for things and was never satisfied. Lately, we hadn't been on very good terms because he would go into the kitchen, as my servants complained, and devour everything. He even broke into the palace treasury. His fate might have been tragic, but it was caused by his own actions.
The most important statement of today's report. Ladies and gentlemen, close to us, goddess Demeter.
I don't want to talk about this particular event. This gentleman dared to insult me by breaking into my property. He wanted to harm my trees and leave the Dryades homeless. He committed hubris, so he got what he deserved. I may sound harsh, but everyone must understand that arrogance and disobedience to the gods are severely punished, and I don't feel guilty either. I gave him many opportunities to realize his mistake. The Dryades begged him. I tried to wake him up in the form of my good priestess and hippie, until I threatened him that he would suffer great harm if he did not abandon his hideous plans. He only had to repent and ask me for forgiveness. Then I would release him from the curse. But he continued to be greedy and arrogant, so that's why he was punished.
We're speaking now with Mystra, the unfortunate daughter of Erysichthon. How do you feel about your loss?
I loved my father, even though I had a bad time with him lately. His hunger was so great that he went so far as to use his own child. That is me. He took advantage of the gift that Poseidon gave me to change forms and sold me over and over again so that he could obtain edibles. Yet, I loved him. I still can't realize that he's no longer with us. If only Demeter would not go so far as to punish him so harshly for his act. Yet he was arrogant, disrespectful, and defiant towards her. What about the Dryades? He didn't think about them at all?
The last statement is from Erysichthon's closest friend, Menipus.
I had known him for many years. I met him at one of the many feasts of god Dionysus. It was there that he first told me about his plan to create a palace where all mortals could have access and party from morning till night. I obviously liked the idea, and from then on we became something like partners. Of course, we'll see how our collaboration ended up. Obviously, he shouldn't have been punished for what he did. Just because he went and cut down 2 or 3 trees should have been put to death, and how else could we build the palace?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the detailed report of the case. Particularly controversial was the statement of Menipus. On the other hand, Demeter seems to be anything but regretful. We're going to be in constant communication with our source and we will keep you updated. Please stay tuned.